What's going on, everybody? I'm here to give my picks for the UFC Vegas 79 main event and co-main event, which goes down this Saturday inside the UFC Apex. Now, if you're wondering where my brother is to give his picks, well, needless to say, he's in no condition to make his picks, so I'll be the only one providing my predictions for this weekend's co-main event and main event. It is a featherweight bout between Bryce Mitchell and Dan Ige. Now, this is going to be the biggest test of Bryce Mitchell's career, as this fight goes way beyond the actual person standing in front of him, which is Dan Ige. Bryce Mitchell, last time we saw him, endured his first professional MMA loss against Ilia Topuria, where he took a lot of damage, which likely hurt him both physically and, most importantly, mentally. Now he's going to get right back in there against another guy who is always dangerous and always ready for a war in Dan Ige. Last time we saw Dan Ige, he went toe-to-toe with Nate Landwehr in an absolute war, which he emerged victorious. Ige now looks to take the next step and proving that he is one of the best 145-pounders in the UFC. Now, it should be noted that Bryce Mitchell is dealing with a little bit more than just what's going on in the octagon. Outside of the octagon, he's going through a lot of troubles with an ex-girlfriend, which he's been posting a lot of stuff about on social media, saying that she burned down his fruit trees. She's threatening to kill his current fiance, burn down his house, all of these crazy threats, which is the last thing you want to be worrying about when entering a fight. On the other side, Dan Ige now is feeling a little bit of momentum from the Landwehr fight. He's ready to make a statement, and he's going to have to counteract the grappling of Bryce Mitchell, which is always a concern. That Arkansas strength can be very dangerous. But to a surprise, Bryce Mitchell is actually coming in at a pretty sizable betting favorite, and I'm not saying that he's not the better fighter. I do think Bryce Mitchell is the better fighter, but like I said, there's just a lot going on with Bryce Mitchell outside of the cage, mentally coming back from his first professional loss, and now another guy who you know is going to be in his face, ready for a battle. So how does this fight actually play out? Well, first off, we're going to definitely need to see some improvements from Bryce Mitchell's striking. It looked awful in his last fight, given one, that he was fighting one of the best strikers in the division in Ilia Topuria, and Mitchell credits a lot of that loss to having the flu. He was saying that he really should have pulled out of that fight, so you take that how you want it, but I do think it is something to consider when going back and watching his last fight. So Ige's going to be in his face, throwing punches, trying to make this a scrappy war. Mitchell most likely going to want to get to this fight to the ground. Can he? I'm not quite sure. We have seen Dan Ige get taken down by a couple of other, lower level grapplers so far in the octagon. So I think that could be a concern. I am a little worried about Mitchell's mindset about everything going on outside the cage, but I am going to side with the Arkansas native to get the win inside the distance by submission. It's time! Now, this is a fight between two top contenders that are trying to get into that superstar bubble that makes the 155-pound division so complicated. Fiziev and Gamrot have the skills to compete with anybody in the division, but they're not quite getting those fights they want because they're not as big of superstars as the top of the division with your Charles Oliveira's, Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier, Islam Makhachev, and even Beneil Dariush is starting to work his way into that mix. Anyways, they continue to win big fights like this, then they'll be into that superstar bubble. But the question is, which one of them will emerge victorious on Saturday night? First off, we have Rafael Fiziev. He's a pure striker. His takedown defense continues to get better and better, but he's mainly a striker who has a long career in Muay Thai and other striking martial arts to really create this world-class striking skills that he possesses now. On the other side, Mateusz Gamrot his striking is very reliable. It's not like he's a pure grappler, but he does have a really high level grappling, and more importantly, he mixes it in so well to throw off his opponent's rhythm that he's such a tough matchup for anybody. Now, 2 fights ago, Gamrot lost to Beneil Dariush. It was a major setback that was supposed to be his breakout moment. Dariush got the win, but earlier this year, Gamrot took a fight on short notice against Jalen Turner. They went to war. Gamrot emerged victorious. Now he's right back into the mix. Last time we saw Rafael Vazayev, well, it was one of the best fights of the year when he went into 3-round war with Justin Gaethje, where he barely lost by majority decision. So how is this fight going to play out on Saturday night? It's going to be really interesting because once again, we're going to see Fizayev's grappling tested. There's no doubt Gamrot's going to mix it in. But Fizayev did have a good point during the UFC Vegas 79 media day this week where he was saying, hey, I've been dealing with grapplers my whole life. From the second I started martial arts, everybody knew I was a striker. I've been continuing to improve on that, and we haven't really seen him cause him many troubles in the octagon yet. Meanwhile, Mateusz Gamrot needs to just do what he does. Like I said before, continue to utilize his striking, mix in those takedowns every once in a while, just keep his opponent guessing. His conditioning's phenomenal. He continues to push the pace, and now he's not fighting on short notice, so his conditioning is going to be even more top tier. But when the fight plays out, right now, I've stuck to one narrative that I just can't get out of my mind until I'm proven wrong. When it comes to a 5-round fight, there is nobody as at this moment that I think can stand and take Rafael Vazayev's punches, kicks, knees, his overall striking for a 5-round war. So, unless Gamrot can get him taken down early, submit him, or if he can continue to push the pace for the entire fight and tire out Fizayev, that's a possibility. I don't think it happens. I think Fizayev is going to do what he does, break down Gamrot throughout the fight, get a late TKO, just like we saw against Rafael Dos Anjos.